As I'm just passing through here, I stopped to show you the pond. Let's see how the water level is there. And before I move, let me show you also these flowers here. And there is some Bermuda grass. And it is growing. We did not receive any rain. The rain shower went to the nearby village of Cardenia, which is, with the bird flies, maybe some 10 kilometers away. And there the shower went down, brought some 2 millimeters of water. So that means 2 liters. And we did not receive anything. But there is still more in the forecast. So maybe the next time we will get something. So let's see how that looks like further ahead. Those flowers are typical for this time of year. They call these summer flowers. They don't give them a name, but they refer to them as, they are typical in summer. And we do have them, but not in many other places. It's because of what we do or what we don't do. Because this area is void of animals for a while until they come back. And it's not looking so shabby, despite the fact that there has been no rain. Of course, there is no forage, but it is alive somehow. And there on the other side, there is a similar image, a similar picture. And the red flowers are also more and more around here. I don't know the English name. In Spanish they're called amapola. And they look very pretty. And makes me happy to see how this develops. Oh, and by the way, here and there we get a visit by some stork. Either a single one or a pair. And I have some thoughts about putting up a place where they can build a nest somewhere high up. And that would be very nice, because we have food here. All these frogs that procreate in that pond. So, and all the other bodies of water that we created. So here we have the pond. Of course the water level is now low. It has lost about a meter. That was expected. But this is a huge body of water. And see, there is life in there. And soon we will move a pump in there and circulate that water. So the pump floating in there, and then we circulate the water somewhere up there, this idea of a wetland, and then let the water come back and go back into the pond. Doesn't cost anything, we have to pump, it's solar powered, so it just gets moved around. We will see what effect this has on the water level in the pond. Of course we will stop at some point if it gets too low, but that way we make use of this standing water, because right now it just sits there and it's not really helpful, except that it sustains some life. And this is nice, but we can do nicer. And as you can see all around, so this, I think, is some cattail there that is growing. There is another one. I have a hard time looking at the monitor of this camera because it is so bright all around. But I hope I have this in the center of the image. And looks like that here there's also another one. So, and even there in the background, you see, there. So this is all good. And of course, if we start pumping water out of it, we need to be careful not to lower the water level too much, because it has to hold until the rain comes back. But we will see how that goes. I'm not sure if I am able to capture them. I think they are called dragonflies in English. They are blue. So there's definitely life in here. No fish, but frogs and other things. And again, sorry for the wind, there is nothing I can do. Well, today I don't have to irrigate anymore. This light rain does the job very well. So this is really light, and it's good that it's not a torrential downpour, because that way it can infiltrate. And given that it comes that late in the year, so at the end of May, it's actually very good. So far things have been holding out, but now our Bermuda grass can definitely strive and grow, and that is what we have been protecting all the time with our rotational grazing, where we keep the animals away from it so it can grow. And that way we probably get a little bit more ground cover. So that is a very sorry situation for those that cultivate row crops and stuff like that. But in our case, this is actually a helpful combination of things. Because this additional moisture, which usually does not come, is now a helper. Because now everywhere those heat-loving plants can grow. Moisture and heat makes plants grow. So this is actually a good thing. And if I zoom in over there, so those palovnia trees, they were lacking a little bit of water, which is why the leaves are smaller, and they are now catching up. On the other hand, over there, that one, the same situation, same amount of water, or lack of, but it looks like it found a water source. Or maybe it is because of the oak tree behind. Maybe they together found water. So that could be. So while Mama dog, Miriam, is resting here on the porch, outside it is raining, and it's raining for real. So you can see the amount of water that we already have here. I did irrigate a little bit because it was moist from yesterday, and you never know, but that was definitely not needed. So this is pretty good. So this new garden area here, which starts with the trees, and some okra which is planted in there, is also benefiting from this. Oh, this should get a boost now, because a little bit later we are at the end of May, so summer is about to start. The summer heat and the sun should help all this to grow like crazy. So I'm actually very grateful for this new way of sun and rain, because it's not so bad in our case. It's just what we need. So all the drought, yeah, well, it is different. So it's a different pattern, and actually I do like it, but don't mark my words, we will see. And I found another new palovnia tree, or an old one, that has also started to grow. It emerged. So before it was 7, now it is 8 of the palovnia trees, also at the edge. So that's the one that survived. So that is very good. And all the things that we have planted there is a little bit of a cornfield and also a few other things. Then we have put in some watermelon seeds on this side, so that it grows towards the open area, which will be refilled. hopefully next week I can continue. You hear my voice is better, so I can probably then do the rest of the excavation and refill there. And then we have the palovnia trees, and on the other side there are some flowers and also a few corn seeds. We will see how this developed. We did not seed anything in between the trees. I want to see what happens, but it's probably not so important if the trees grow very fast, which they are supposed to. And the others, they also need to be planted next week. It is, if you go there, you come to the entrance to the compound, and there we need to loosen up the soil and use the rest of the straw and manure combination and seed our now special mix, Sunhemp and Friends, and put in those saplings. And then a few other places around the corner, right here, where we can also use the rest of them. So this is very pleasant and very nice. And this is now real rain. Before it was a dribble, which lasted for quite a while. But this is now a lot more. And supposedly there will be heavier rainfall. So what I thought before about filling up the swale at CT2, no, we don't need to do this anymore. So that's pretty good. The doggies are not so happy because I left them in there. Well, let's see, the camera focuses a little bit. So they are either inside of that, not everybody fits, and the rest is under the tree. But it's not a big problem. When the rain stops, I let them out and then they dry. So Mama dog here, Miriam, has always the better position of all these things. But she's an old lady, and that's good for her. And what I also can mention is when I'm done filling up the place over there, that garden area, I also want to fill up this here to elevate it a little bit and make it level. But probably we also need to adjust the left side of this gate. Also lift this up somehow, because it's a bit difficult because it's in concrete. And I don't know exactly how we are going to do this. But the idea is to lift the left side up and also remove the other one, because this is not going to be an animal path anymore. Because we want to plant more things here. It would be a very narrow path anyway. So instead of having that, the idea is that the driveway and also animal path loops around and gets everybody to the same place. So this piece here is not really needed. So we will move the fence and plant some trees here and have this a little bit nicer. So the thing is, this has a level that's already set. So we can lift the left side up, and then there's a slight slope, a little ramp, not very pronounced, and then everything else should be level. Because the idea is, in between the boxes there will be one, and on the other side will be another. And between and before, I want to have a few fruit trees. And also here, this should be green, so there should be Bermuda grass, which allows us to drive over it, but still it stays green and healthy, because it is very sturdy, and we have it grown in the driveway without a lot of protection and water and all this. So it is definitely a very aggressive plant, and that's precisely why they use it in soccer fields also around here. And there's also Bermuda grass over there. So the idea is to have the dog enclosure completely filled with Bermuda grass, and also all the other places here in the compound as a ground layer, so that they can walk on grass and it's green. So no more desert. That's the idea. So now all the focus is here on the compound, and when we're done with the compound, we will then move in that direction and do more things there. And we will begin in our wannabe food forest to fill this up with some more trees, and then find something that we can do here in this area. This is still going to be the pig maternity ward. So we will have some pigs in the near future. I can share pieces of the plan. The idea is to build this quarantine shelter that is required so that we can get the permit to breed pigs. And then we are going to do exactly that. We breed pigs and sell the piglets to other people for fattening. We won't do this ourselves except for ourselves. So we're not getting into the ham making business and all that, except on a very, very small scale. So it will be a specialty product, and it's for us. And what is on top that we can sell. But mostly the idea is to have the animals to do certain jobs. And of course after a while there will be ham and pork chops and all that, but we take this slow, so that while we afforest, we build the forest from the ground up now, we will then later have some pigs once a year for the acorns, so that we can move them through the forest. And we try this here in this area B, which is, like you have seen in the video where I explained the new approach. This is about 3.6 hectares in total. So this is enough. The 3.6 hectares include the area B1 over there, and this is for grazing. And we have a few polovnias there, maybe we can set a few other trees. But the idea is to work there and turn this into a pig paradise, but in the style of a forest. Details to follow. But this is earmarked for that. And there will be a lot more trees. So now the rain has ceased a little bit. It's still dripping. So it's now light. Let's see how it develops. Well, that is real rain. Makes everything wet very quickly. And this is also very good, because it was bone dry and now it gets something of moisture. This is the place where I excavated today a little bit so that we can plant some trees here. I will explain this when I can walk around without getting wet myself, but this is one more step ahead in terms of let's plant a lot of trees and other things in a compound. And by the way, that cage is now empty. That was our human manure, and all that material is now in there. Let's see how helpful that's going to be. So here I brought out some seed while it was still dribbling a little bit, and I raked it in. And what you don't see now on camera, because I'm here, is how the birds, all those little ones that we have around here, have been digging. And that is a challenge. We do have a single row planter that people use in market gardens and so. And it would be nice to use this device, but with all the stones and all the other stuff, that is a challenge. And maybe this here, after raking, it looks more or less even and the device might be used. But how do you do this in places that are not like this? So after a rough excavation, it looks like that. And this is actually one of the better pieces, because there has been a lot of vegetation growing here in the shade of the house, but there's still a lot of stones. So all these nice ideas, they have a challenge. And that, by the way, is our human manure that I integrated into the soil a little bit. So I mixed the existing dirt with the human manure by using the bucket of the excavator. I understand that from cultivating a lot, you do get much finer soil, and then these devices like that single row planter will work well. But I'm wondering how to do this if stuff looks like that, or really bad when it's hard, because this is the good part. So one idea that I had is to make a device that out of metal, so that it's sturdy enough, so that you can use that to make a little trench where you put in the seed, which can be done by hand, and then another person follows and closes it again. That might then work a little bit better. Of course, out in a real field, there are solutions, and when the mules were here, we have used this, and you have seen it. So that is when you have that opportunity. But when it's about a small patch like this one, something different is what I'm looking for. Maybe you have some suggestions, or can point me to images or videos where I can see what you mean, because the terms is also a difficult thing. How do you call a thing?